2 years ago today, then Governor Sarah Palin urged Alaskans to sign advance health care declarations. Last summer, when a provision in the health care bill would have helped people get the facts from their doctors about such decisions and coverage from their insurers about such meetings, Palin irresponsibly dubbed it Obama's death panel. And our third story on the countdown today is National Healthcare Decisions Day, and President Obama has now made it easier for gay men and lesbians and others who want to designate as legal surrogates people who are not conventional family members. The president first. He has directed his Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius, to issue new rules requiring most hospitals to extend visitation rights to the partners of gay men and lesbians and to respect a patient's choice about who he or she designates to make critical health care decisions for them. The new rules would also apply to widows and widowers and members of some religious orders who choose a friend or companion for visitation or as a legal surrogate. It was just 2 years ago that Governor Palin marked this day by encouraging people in her state to create their own advance directives. But it was former half-governor, former presidential candidate Palin, who posted on her Facebook page last August, quoting, "The America I know and love is not one in which my parents or my baby with Down syndrome will have to stand in front of Obama's death panel so his bureaucrats can decide, based on a subjective judgment of their level of productivity in society, whether they are worthy of health care. Such a system is downright evil." Of course, she was right. The America I know and love is not one in which that would happen. Palin even reveled later in broadening that claim.
We're not going to back off on our criticism of the problems of the health care bill, and one aspect of it is the death panel still. If we have our health care paid for by the bureaucracy, by government, we're going to be subject to bureaucrats deciding, which are panels and commissions deciding, just like they do overseas, who will be worthy of receiving the health care that government is going to provide. So that is the death panel that I referred to, and I won't back off on criticizing that aspect of the health care bill.
This woman is an idiot. I want to address less that truth and the realities of the directives with the attorney and chair of National Healthcare Decisions Day, Nathan Kottkamp. Thank you for your time tonight, sir.
Thanks. It's great to be here on this important day.
It's an important day, and it's an essential issue. And 2 years ago, it seems that the then governor of Alaska took it seriously. Are you familiar with the proclamation that she signed 2 years ago?
I sure am. It's actually very similar to the proclamations that were issued with bipartisan support in both houses of the Congress and also in several states around the country in addition to Alaska.
We've described advance directives previously in this show at great length. Explain them for us in a substantive way.
Sure. Advance directives are documents used to enable individuals to provide their wishes for situations in which they cannot speak for themselves. And this can be caused by any kinds of things, whether it's a sudden illness, a car accident, or some sort of terminal condition. There's two key types of advance directives. One is the designation of an agent, or someone who literally stands in your shoes and speaks for you when you cannot speak for yourself. And the other key type is typically called a living will, and it's a document that provides written instructions, often instructions with respect to end-of-life care in the event of a terminal condition, but provides those in a written form.
There was a study the New England Journal of Medicine published earlier in the month that found that more than 90% of adults who had living wills wound up requesting either limited care or comfort care, palliative care, palliation at the end of life, as my father did. 2% asked for all care possible, and obviously they have the right to do that, and I have witnessed firsthand the importance of those distinctions for not only the patient but for the family. In your experience, in the nuts and bolts at the bedside, is this an issue? Is this a right? Is this a system that draws support from people across the political spectrum? Is there really a divide right when you get down to the nitty-gritty?
No, I really don't think there is. And one of the best examples of that is if you go to nationalhealthcaredecisionsday.org and you click on our participants, you're going to see organizations that are on the far right and the far left and everywhere in between. And I think what we see with this event all across the country is no matter what your ideological perspective is on the meaning of life and end-of-life issues, everyone seems to recognize that it's important for us to be able to state what our wishes are and then have those wishes be honored.
Mr. Kottkamp, health care reform would have changed this equation on declarations how? I mean, insurance would have paid for a doctor's time and insight in these discussions, and the people who demonize that somehow got that cut out of health care reform?
They did. There's really an unfortunate disconnect. We've got federal regulations that require hospitals, nursing homes, hospices, ambulatory surgery centers, even dialysis facilities to raise the topic of advance directives to provide forms and information for patients, but there isn't a payment mechanism for those facilities to do it. And obviously we want patients to be talking about these choices with their physicians, and again, there's no payment mechanism there in most circumstances. So if we really want these conversations to be enabled, we have to put our money where our mouth is, and we've got to put some reimbursement into the hands of physicians so they'll actually have an incentive to have these conversations.
And conversations, plural, is the key to it as well. I don't know how many I had, because the same treatment for my father was a different set of circumstances every day. We had to go through it every day and see where we were. So my thanks to you and for all the good work that you're doing. Nathan Kottkamp, chair of the National Healthcare Decisions Day. Thanks for your time. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much.